Hello. Forgive the noise if you can hear a noise. It's incredibly annoying, but it's the fan that's going because it's Brisbane and it's coming into. Well, actually, it's not coming into summer, but it's not winter, so therefore it's really hot. Like really fucking hot in Brisbane. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, I just thought, hey, next day, get on here and see. Got anything to say? I don't know. You know what's really hard is like I have so many thoughts, so many topics that I could discuss right now, but I'm always self-editing, and I'm always so stressed about whether or not it means anything. You know, it means something to me, of course. Otherwise, why would I be sitting here in front of a computer talking to a camera? But what is there any actual substance to anything I have to say? And because ultimately I don't necessarily believe someone else's opinion is of any particular relevance, or at least it's not of any more relevance than my opinion. Maybe I could just talk about opinion, you know, and how people just think, how they feel about things when someone challenges with an opposing view, which isn't an opposing view, it's their view. Right, when they challenge them to think about why they're thinking about or how they feel about what they're thinking, they see it as a personal attack. It's like as really as simple as, hey, I like this band. Hey, I don't like that band because such and such. Don't you think they're selling out? What? They're not sellouts. That's my favourite band, mate. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's kind of like, just settle down. They're not saying you suck because you like them. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, when you actually think about it, that is really stupid. Like, I need to come up with some more. Just realised I need to come up with some more adjectives other than ridiculous and stupid. Do I need to be more positive in my life? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, it's just kind of like an opinion. Like, why is that so offensive to you? And I mean, even the concept of me saying that might be like an affront to some people. Like, but I'm not. It's not like judgment. It's not an attack. It's just like, but why do you feel that? I mean, it's very kind of therapist thing to say. But why do you feel that? Right. So you want to murder your colleagues at work. But why do you think that is? You know, it's just, it's kind of like, even questioning yourself shouldn't be something you fear, like questioning why you feel the way about things, or why you formulated that opinion. Because unless you can question even your own self and even your own perception of things, and all of the influences that have maybe brought you that to that point, if you can't even question those things, how can you be so definite? How can you be so completely sure that the way you're thinking is right? It's completely silly. Silly, stupid, bonkers, crazy. It is. It's ludicrous. I just watched back one of those videos and I said ludicrous like 4 times. But really, get a thesaurus. Jesus. I swear I have a better vocabulary, just not when I'm talking to a camera. Much better at writing. But anyway, it's just, come on. The things you like, you think they define you because you feel this necessity to be defined. I mean, obviously we've been taught that that in order for something to be understandable, it needs to be quantifiable. You know, in order for your opinion to matter, it has to be based on popular things, a set of things that through your life have been kind of, you know, sold to you. I keep saying that, but it's true. You know, it's kind of all of this information that you're receiving. You really need to stop and think about who is sending you that information and why, and what they are getting out of the situation. And in a lot of cases, it's really comes down to people wanting to justify their behavior, cover up their insecurities by being angry at you, trying to monetize your soul through selling you something, or, you know, like literally selling you something, or even trying to sell you an idea. It's kind of it's their external way of dealing with their shit. And now it's entirely up to us as human beings whether or not we take other people's shit and put it into our soul. That's the stuff they're trying to get out of themselves. And why would you be willing to take all of that shit, which actually, it, like, just release it? It should just totally be released, because and it would no longer exist. No one would ever think about it again. But instead of just kind of externalizing it and releasing it, they're externalizing it and putting it on you. And is it? Do you really? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's right? Have you ever stopped to wonder if people are actually doing that to you? I mean, it's quite, again, this might be confronting, it might not. You might just be thinking, oh, no, duh. But I just feel the need, like, I have to say this, because in daily life, in a lot of human interactions I have, it's all just based on this kind of like instant shutting down. And it's a very Australian thing, you know, and I might offend a lot of people by saying that. Oh, you can't talk bad about Australia, mate. Australia's fucking awesome. We're all great. Yeah, everyone's lovely. Yeah, yeah, it's sunny all the time. All the neighbours talk to each other and it's great. Yeah, we sit on the beach all day. Yeah, it's awesome. We do barbies and shit. Look, yeah, okay, Australia is awesome in a lot of ways, but the people can be very closed off. And that's a result of Australian culture and history. And come on, I mean, Australia started as years ago, it started as a natural, amazing place with incredible, wonderful people on it. You know, let's be honest, it was doing its own thing, and the rest of the world didn't really probably even know it existed, and the people there were living an amazing existence. I mean, one that we will never understand, because unfortunately most of it isn't going to be recorded in history, or couldn't be recorded in history. But living a life, you know, living a life that even if people don't understand was still theirs. Anyway, in comes ships full of, oh God, I am so not going to get into this, man, because shit. I'm going to actually have to edit this out. Shit. Oh, it's a real dilemma. Do I edit it out? Because, wow, man, can you see the shit that goes in my head? It's really hard sometimes, because self-editing, man, it's what I literally in the last few videos have said we should stop doing for fear of offending people, and yet here I am. Do you know what? I think it's not that I'm scared of offending people. It's just that maybe I haven't formulated the ideas fully through. Maybe I need to have a bit more research into those things before I even start talking about it. I mean, who makes me a fucking expert on it? I mean, I do actually think that the Aboriginal people of Australia, from what I can tell, from what I've been taught and what I know about them, will leading a pretty fucking awesome life. I mean, the type of life that, ironically, you know, us now, you know, certainly in Western society, are starting to think maybe is the way we should have been living all along, you know. We're off the land, you know, such a simple thing as actually living off the land and manipulating it to a degree to your ends, but not exploiting it in any way, shape or form. Just using what's there and managing it and making sure that there's enough, not just for you, but for everybody. And it seems that's the case, you know. I've seen a little bit more about the culture than I certainly ever learnt in school, although I did learn quite a bit. My school was actually pretty good. And certainly more than I usually see on most media outlets, because let's face it, what are they going to tell you about? I remember sort of in the 80s that the main attitude of people where I was at the time was that, well, a big part of culture thought that Aboriginal people were just drunks in the park. They were just there's people who are asking you for money outside of Coles all the time so that they could go and buy a drink and just sit in the park and bludge. It's absolutely shocking to think that, but it's true. Like, I experienced that firsthand. So many people, including people I loved, actually thought that. They used to make jokes like, why do they call them a boong, which was a detrimental term for Aboriginal people? Oh, because that's the sound they make when they hit the car bonnet. Like, think about that. It was a joke, but actually think about it. That was something that people thought it was okay to joke about. You know, it's absolutely shocking to think that that was only, God, to some degree it's still going now, but that was only like 20, 30 years ago. You know, it's really, really terrifying in a lot of ways. And in a lot of ways, the media doesn't really want to talk about it because, hey, then it's kind of like an admission of, not guilt, but, well, I suppose it is guilt, really, when you actually think about it. If you went over to your neighbour's house and killed them, stole their house and moved on in, well, that's a criminal offence, isn't it, really? And just because it was done in the name of an empire, you know, it's still criminal, and it's still criminal today. You know, it's something that happened in history. And although I don't look at history as necessarily a set of facts and things in order to bring judgment and stuff on the way we live today, it's certainly a learning tool. History is a learning tool. And that happened. You know, it's undeniable that that happened. And it's undeniable by anyone that it was wrong. I mean, it's absolutely wrong to do that. That you don't have, whatever your political agenda, whatever, there's always going to be a tiny, even if it's just a speck, an atom of soul left in all people. That atom knows that that's wrong. It's not whether it's legal, whether it's lawful, it's wrong, you know. So I guess because of all of that, maybe I'm a bit worried that my opinion isn't sort of, I guess that it's not valid enough, that it's not based on enough facts and all of this kind of stuff. But I guess I'm just saying the essence of how I feel about it. And maybe that says a lot about me and my experience, and more than I probably even really know. And I'm sure anybody's looking at this might have much more insight into it than I do. But really, where was I going with this? Train of thought. Opinion. Yeah, it's kind of like, let's get back to that, actually. We'll save all this other stuff for another discussion. This is literally all just coming off the top of my head, and it's obviously not always going to work. I mean, it really isn't. There's a whole section of that right now, which I'm thinking I should edit out, and it's like, it's not, I've gone over 10 minutes, so what am I going to do about it? You've probably all stopped watching by now, so I guess it doesn't matter. What's really actually the most funny thing is that I'm assuming to some degree that anybody is watching this. I know nobody's going to be watching it like now, but I'm also thinking, you know, maybe in the future people will be looking at it. Not like, let's find out what people were doing back then and what they were thinking. For some reason, I am an English-speaking robot. But, you know, like, at least, you know, my friends are going to look back at it. Maybe, but I'm assuming that, you know, really, when it comes down to it, I'm not promoting this shit. I'm not getting it out there. So it's probably just going to be like, I'll get 2 likes and 0 comments. So all this stuff I'm saying is probably completely moot anyway. It's funny. So yeah, I guess to summarize, it's just opinion. Don't get so defensive about it. And I often feel shut down when I try and give my opinion. Yes, I often give my opinion in a sarcastic and I guess sanctimonious way. That's just me reacting to everything. But really, it's just an opinion. If you like, pick a pop star. Pick your favorite pop star. If you like them, someone else doesn't like them, that shouldn't change whether you like them or not, and it certainly shouldn't offend you that they don't. Okay? Like, it's just it's okay. If you like it, you like it. Just make sure the reasons you're liking it are because, not just because, but it speaks to me, but because at least you need to know why that person is making that music, what process is involved in getting you to listen to the music, commercial radio or what a festival or whatever, and what the person who's organizing that process is getting from it and what they're taking from you. And if you can at least understand that like it's an industry and people need to make a living and all that, as long as you've done your research, you know all the backstory, as long as you at least understand the process of you consuming that music and what that means to you and to others, then yeah, if you like it, awesome. But if you don't, if you've never thought about any of those things, and the first thing you do is get instantly defensive and say, but I like Popstar 3, then, God, that's probably going to come out. There's probably a band in the world right now called Popstar 3. A replaceable pop starlet number 2. Or at this stage, 2091. Maybe that's the year that I'll start liking pop music. No, I do like some pop music, honestly, but I understand the process and I understand why I like it. And I've made peace with that, so it's okay. It's okay for me to do it. I thought about it. It's okay for me to sell out. I know the price. Ultimately, it's just opinion. What I'm saying now, it's just opinion. It's 15 minutes of pointless opinion. If you get something from it, cool, but I'm not here to friggin' teach you. You're not here to learn. You're just watching this for whatever reason. I think on some of these videos I'd put tags like kittens and puppies and owlets. Just because I thought it would be hilarious for somebody to click to type in puppies and then find some picture of some me talking shit to them. It's quite funny, really. Anyway, once again, I've spoken more than I need to. I'm going. I'll leave it. There's so much more to get out. Oh my god, how do I start?